How do you avoid, that's something I just thought of, how do you avoid normlessness and meaninglessness within an anarchistic society? Because if you're stripping back a lot of the previous institutions that people would have relied on to find their sense of self, and both me and you are big proponents of personal sovereignty and upward agency and all that sort of stuff. But we have to concede that that isn't for everybody. Some people require those bigger structures to hold themselves together. How would you propose supporting those people?
Oh, I don't support them. I don't care about them. They're ballast. They don't really
fucking ballast.
They are. They have no ideas. They bring nothing to, well, that's a pejorative. They bring nothing to the table. And if they were in maybe Iran, they'd be radical jihadis, and if they're in Britain, they're this, and American, they're this. They don't really think critically, and that's fine. But in terms of what can be done for them, I mean, I don't really know. I can't empathize with them. Whatever system works out, like, they will just obey whatever is the rules of the game, and they will be able to kind of follow suit, and they'll watch the sitcoms and live this kind of docile cow-like life. But I don't spend much time thinking about them. This is something that I stress a lot with people who are followers of mine. They're like, look at all these people who are mindless, and I'm like, how are these mindless people a threat to you? Like they're like trees. Like, are you like, well, we can't win because there's all these trees? It's like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, any population, an enormous percentage of it is going to be with people who really are in a very fundamental way mindless, who have no kind of inner voice, who are opposed or incapable. This is a big argument. Are they opposed or incapable of thinking critically? And are, H.L. Mencken, the great American kind of cynic from the early 20th century, has this great quote about the average man does not want to be free. He simply wants to be safe. And I think you're seeing that a lot more in Britain, sadly, than in the States nowadays, how they really want to be told what to do and kind of like just follow suit. And I know you're, an entrepreneur and kind of really trying to become much more self-actualized. And you've talked to me about this, how this is something that you find it's not only frustrating to be surrounded by it, but it's also maddening in the sense of like, how are you like this? Like, we are so blessed with so many opportunities, and you just want to watch, Celebrity Big Brother and whatnot, and just, have a pint and then go to bed. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's their highest aspiration. I love trashy TV. I love having a drink or whatever, but there's a time and a place for both.
The tragedy that I see is people doing that every decade for three or four in a row. That to me is a life wasted.
Yes.
And it's their life to waste, but it still doesn't mean necessarily that I need to be an advocate or supportive in any way of it. I wonder whether it's a particularly British phenomenon. I can't speak for other people, other nations. Maybe some of the people can let us know in the comments from where they're from and how they find their culture with regards to this total lack of personal sovereignty and upward mobility, and an ability to do anything sort of laterally as well, to think like, okay, here is the path that I'm on. Let's just see what happens if I take a big left turn. Like, let's just see. Maybe it totally wrecks everything, but maybe it's actually not that bad. And I've had this idea for a while that it's because we're waterlocked, because we're quite a small nation, because the weather's quite bad. Even if you look at
excuses.
No, so this is me saying what are the things that feed it into the British culture more. I know,
but these are right. But you know what I mean. Like, you'll always find a reason not to achieve, or not to hope, or not to think critically. There's no shortage ever.
Do you see this?
Can you imagine like someone saying like, the reason I don't want to aspire to, run my own like toffee shop is because of the weather?
I get that, but we're mimetic creatures, right? Mimetic desire is a big thing. And I feel like in a place that had more, that was more cosmopolitan, for instance, as one thing, if you had a bigger country with more international visitors, you may have more people coming and going that would actually be able to broaden your mindset. If you had slightly better weather, people would be able to do more things outside of just, like at the moment, it's dark at 8 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. and it's raining all day, every day. There isn't a massive amount of stuff that you can do. If you could, perhaps that would broaden your perspective. Maybe I don't just need to go pub, Netflix, work, pub, Netflix, work.
Yeah, you're not going to tell me London's not international enough. I mean, this is it, it's really, and there's so I love British culture. And in fact, I've been to the UK once and I did not have a good time. And I interviewed Ari Up. She was from the band The Slits, old school punk band, Johnny Rotten's stepdaughter. And she said, yeah, I'm not going to do her accent. She had this Jamaican accent. She passed away not that long ago. And she said, yeah, we all hated London. We couldn't wait to get the fuck out of there, her words. And she's like, no wonder you didn't have a good time. And to me, the best thing about Britain is how it, obviously the British Empire, I'm sure, is something that's very mixed emotional people, resonance for people from England. But the idea that you had all these countries from all over the world under the sway of the Queen or whoever the king was at the time, and you imported elements to it to Britain, and it made this kind of cosmopolitan culture, like tea time, coming from Japan, and so, I mean, music and the British Museum. Are you kidding me? It's just an amazing miracle of civilization. So I don't buy into that at all. Just because if the rain is going to stop you from like becoming a better person, it's not the rain.
It's a good point. I think I might be slightly jaded because I'm in Newcastle, which is the last city before Scotland, and there is very much a small town mentality. As soon as you get pretty much out of London, you go to even the bigger cities, Manchester, Birmingham, you have people like born, live, die.
Aren't those kind of like shithole? I mean, aren't they like really kind of like relics of what they used to be, and that they're kind of very depressing, used to be much more industrial, and there's kind of like economic decay?
I think that's most of the UK, man. Like, really, what have we got? It's not like we have natural resources. The only thing that we can export is our intellect and our accent. Like those are the two biggest exports that we have.
My friend is Mick Ronson's daughter. He was Bowie's guitarist, and he was from Hull. And she's like, you don't understand like what it's like going there. She's like, it's like maybe it's like Detroit, but it's really like when the Sex Pistols sing about there's no future, there are those places in the UK, and you'd obviously know this better than I do, where you grow up and in those cases the weather does matter, because if everything's run down and the weather sucks and it's dark, it's very hard to see sunshine and emotional level. So I'll accept that, certainly.